As I got off the bus at the Suva bus stand, and as I was walking to work, it kept hitting me. Bikes, bikes, bikes everywhere. The idea of using bikes for public transport felt so simple yet unimaginable for Fiji. At the time, I honestly thought I was the first person to have ever had this idea. Like I discovered something new, something no one had thought before. That excitement, everything. But then, as I dug deeper, I realized something that shook me. Bike-sharing models had been working overseas for years. I was filled with mixed emotions at this stage, On one hand, I was furious. Why hadn't anyone thought about this for Fiji? I watched all those government officials go on fancy overseas trips year after year, and yet no one ever thought to bring this simple solution home. On the other hand, I was relieved. It felt good. If it was working in other places, then it wasn't some pipe dream. It was a real, viable solution. And if no one else was going to do it, well, then I guess it was up to me. That realization pushed me forward. But it also brought with it hard lessons. Two, actually. The first was the blessing of being in a developing country. You see, I realized that introducing bike sharing in Fiji wasn't starting from scratch. It was actually an advantage. Countries that started these models years ago had already refined their systems. They had learned from their failures. And that was my opportunity to take the best lessons and build something that would work for Fiji. It meant creating a new hybrid model, one that combined the best parts of all the international models while avoiding the mistakes they made along the way. At least that was the idea. But that wasn't the only lesson I learned. The second one was the pushback from doubt. It's funny because it's one thing when people close to you don't believe in your dream. But when you walk into every local authority's office and hear the same thing over and over, it's not going to work. Fijians won't take to bikes. Our streets are too busy. Bikes will get stolen. The infrastructure isn't here. It gets really hard. I won't lie, those no's felt like walls closing in. But here's the thing I learned. Never be afraid to fail. Dream big, start small. Just start. I had to remind myself that the same people who once thought they could never have running water or a flush toilet are now living with those things. We've moved from horse-drawn carts to cars, from eating with our hands to using utensils. Change is scary, especially when people don't understand it. It's our job to help them see the bigger picture and show them what's possible. And that's where we'll pause for today. In the next episode, I'll dive into more of the pushback and how I kept moving forward, no matter the doubt. And I'm sure you'll stick around. Stay tuned. Naka.